Hey everybody, this is John, and just a quick message before the episode starts. This was our first live and in-person recording of the HR Social Hour half-hour podcast. We had a really great time talking to Kevin Hubbard. This show doesn't have any music, opening or closing, doesn't have any music during the question connection, because this was our first time trying it to see how things worked, and we didn't want to try to make it more difficult than it may already be. There were multiple recording devices that we were using to try to get the best sound possible. So unfortunately, you might hear a little feedback now and again because the different mics crossed signals. Doesn't take away from the conversation. Again, we had a great time talking to Kevin, great time speaking in front of the Emerging Professionals group. Hope you enjoy the show, and we'll see you soon. Hello, and welcome back once again to the HR Social Hour half-hour podcast. This is a very special live episode from SHRM19. I'm your host, John.
And I'm Wendy. This is bananas, John.
I think bananas is a good word. So we are sitting in front of a half-full audience. I don't know. I guess we scared them away, unfortunately. We are with the Emerging Professionals event here out in Las Vegas. Just spoke for a few minutes, talked about finding how you find your voice and how to connect and our stories. Hope nobody went to sleep.
I don't think so.
I think we did okay in that regard.
I think we did.
But yeah, super exciting. Wendy, how's the rest of the conference been treating you so far?
Well, since this is kicking off, it's kind of hard to say, but I'm looking forward to the conference. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of great folks that are going to be here. I'm excited to see our friends at Namely, Career Arc, Better Works, Tickets at Work. I don't know how many other people we need to name off, but looking forward to those, looking forward to the keynotes. But really, the most important, I think the best part this morning was seeing all of our friends, people that are here at this event, people walking by who came in to say hello while we were prepping this morning. So that's why I keep coming, is the people.
It was amazing. Last night we had our dinner.
Right.
And we had a full house.
We did.
2 full tables of people. Absolutely
Yep.
insane. Just a great time, great food, great atmosphere. Saw the biggest milkshake I've ever seen in my life last night.
Yeah, it was huge.
With a piece of cake on top of it.
Huge,
Insane.
gigantic.
Black Tap, for those of you that are in the audience and are interested, Black Tap, the cake shake. It's for real, people. It is for real.
Check it out on Twitter.
Well, Wendy,
Yeah.
we've talked a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about our guest.
Yes.
We tried to figure out, okay, we wanted to have somebody that is part of the community, that is in that Emerging Professionals group.
Right.
And so when Callie Zippel, who was kind enough to ask us to take part in this event, said, hey, we'd love for you to do this live podcast, we said, how about this guy Kevin?
Right.
If he's going to be at SHRM, because he's talked about it,
Yeah.
let's get Kevin. So
Right.
I'm going to let you make the introduction, and we're going to get started.
Wonderful. So excited to have Kevin with us here. I almost said tonight, this morning. We don't normally record in the morning, so I'm on autopilot. Kevin was born and raised in Southern California, but he moved to Columbus, Georgia in 2011. In March of this year, he graduated magna cum laude from Strayer University. And in April, he began his 18-month full-time graduate program at the Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University, where he also works full-time as a campus coordinator. Very happy to let you guys know that Kevin also holds his APHR certification, which is fantastic. Encourage others to check out that opportunity to become certified without having to have a lot of years of experience in the industry. So I think that's fantastic. So we'll start today with our usual question of, what's in your glass, Kevin?
Right now, it's water, but earlier I did have orange juice. Orange juice is kind of my go-to drink in the morning.
Yeah, I enjoy orange juice, but I do have to say, Callie had promised me a mimosa, but I am not drinking mimosas right now. So we might have to have a little chat with Callie later.
We'll do that offline. Kevin, again, super excited to have you taking part. And I guess the question, you heard us talk about how we got involved in this business of human resources. What led you to decide to pursue a career in HR?
Initially, when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my career, I was between human resources and accounting. And I had just kind of asked a question on Facebook about human resources. I didn't really have an idea as to what exactly it was. And people told me, one of my friends said, HR can be thought of as internal customer service kicked up a notch. Oh. And I thought, okay, all right. And I like to problem solve. I like to analyze. I like to fix things, and I like to work with people. In accounting, you don't really work with people as much as you would with human resources. So,
sure.
HR it is.
Awesome. I think that's That's awesome. And you're not the first person to look at accounting and HR. So I wonder what it is when people go to college that you get accounting and HR right next to each other. I don't know, but
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. It's you're not the first, and maybe it's people want to get into business and they think, oh, business, accounting, and then HR kind of pops up.
Accounting was in the back of my mind because during my undergraduate program, I had taken some accounting classes, and I had enjoyed it. So I thought, okay. Well, accounting is a possibility, but then HR kind of snuck in there.
Since you've had a chance to look at some of HR, what components of HR are you most interested in?
First thing that stood out was employee relations.
Oh, okay.
Again, it comes to solving problems, working with people, not really being behind the scenes, so to speak.
Sure.
Even though that can be a part of HR, but employee relations, working with people, problem solving, thinking, maybe overthinking sometimes, but employee relations is what really sticks out.
It's very interesting you say that, Kevin, because we have an ongoing debate within ourselves. I'm a big fan of that component of the work. Wendy, not so much.
No, I'm not a fan of employee relations.
But no, it's that challenge of dealing sometimes with the not so fun stuff, doing it with grace, doing it with civility, and handling things as best we can. There's been some tremendous challenges throughout that, and I find it interesting that that's the draw, because a lot of times people say, oh wow, employee relations, that piece is hard, and it's all challenging, but it's great to hear that that's a key focus for you, especially coming out of accounting. Is that still
right?
That doesn't add up. That doesn't add up. Kevin, you have been extremely active on social media, which just blows me away. It seems like you're on all the platforms, and that you are engaged with. I don't know. I can't remember when we quite connected, but it seems like you've been part of the HR community for a bit now, especially starting your career. I guess what led you to get involved with the online HR community, and talk a little bit about the benefits that you've found from being part of it.
Initially, when I first started to study HR, one of my friends in Columbus had said that there is a local SHRM meeting in Columbus that they hold every month. And so I started attending there, meeting different people, and I found out that HR was huge online, huge on Twitter, huge on social media, and that's what led me to connect with you and Wendy, and you mentioned Kyra earlier, to ask questions. And as I've done so, I've noticed it's a good way to, I don't want to say pick the brains of other people, but to ask questions that I may be struggling with, or to get new ideas, because you don't want to be in your own bubble. You don't want groupthink to take place. And so being able to connect with other people from all over helps you get out of that bubble and think of things that you may not have been able to think of before.
I think it's very fair to say picking people's brains.
Yes,
we
I
do
do
it all
too.
the time. We do it all the time. We've been doing this for many, many years, continuing to learn. And I think picking brains is not a bad way to put it at all. And just finding that other input in those areas where you're not as comfortable, or maybe it's an emerging area, AI, for example. We've been really fortunate to get to know some people that are really engaged in that, and we can pick up the phone and ask questions, or tweet them about, hey, what do you know about this? And it's available, and that instant information that can be really, really beneficial. I think it's great to see that you've been taking part, and I'll say it, I'm glad that you were, because that's how we first found you to do this podcast with us.
So this is your first HR conference.
It is.
Yay! Yay! What session or speaker are you most excited about?
Probably, I would say the sessions that relate to employee relations. just going to be honest.
Sure.
There are a lot of different aspects to HR, laws and benefits and compensation. But again, for me, it's the pull with employee relations is something that I look forward to the most.
Have you picked a speaker that you're looking forward to in that track at all?
I have not. But I will. I'll have to look through the schedule and look through all the sessions and make sure I can get to the ones that I want to get to.
Well, you'll have to share after so that we can all learn from that person. I think that's the best part about coming to these conferences and people sharing what they're learning on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, that you don't have to hit every session because it's overwhelming.
Right.
There's, John and I talked about it at 3 o'clock tomorrow. There's like 7 people that we really want to hear. So that's just not going to happen, unfortunately.
Pro tip, have a backup.
Okay.
Yeah.
You never know, especially with some of the smaller sessions. If you think about it, there are 20,000 people at this event. So the likelihood of you being the only person that wants to see somebody that's probably not realistic. So if some of the settings might be 100 people or a couple hundred people, a lot of times those are filled up. So make sure pro tip to anybody that's putting together a schedule, make sure you have a backup or two because you just never know for sure.
Good to know.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, it is now time for everyone's favorite part of our show. It is the half-hour question connection, which is where we get into the same questions like we kind of talked about earlier for everybody. Talk to us about your first professional mentor and what was the most important thing that you learned from them.
In connecting with people on social media, mostly Twitter, one of the very first people that I connected with in HR was Kyra.
Kyra Makovich.
Kyra Makovich, yes. And I could immediately tell that she was the life of a party. She knew her stuff. She had absolutely no problem answering my questions. I'm in the middle of my bachelor's program, and I think one of the things that she has taught me the most above anything, ask questions about, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to get to know different people who are out of your bubble or out of your country, so to speak. That's where you learn. That's when you grow. That's when you can develop and be a better person as far as an HR professional.
So, Kevin, who's one person in the last year that you've connected with? It may be on social, maybe somebody you've met in school, whatever it may be. But who's one person that's put into your network in the last year that really sticks out that you think more people should know?
I'm not sure if I could pronounce her name right. She lives in Nebraska. Her name, Gemma Toth. Oh. I have spoken to her before on social media, and she is very, I don't want to say cut and dry, but she's very to the point. And sometimes you need to be that way in life, and especially in HR. Sometimes you have to have difficult conversations. It's just how it is sometimes, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what's going on. But Gemma is the one who comes to mind.
So full disclosure, Gemma was Wendy's roommate last year.
Yes, she was. Yep.
The community is small.
It is. It is. It's awesome. Kevin, what's the best advice you've gotten in your career so far?
I would say network. We've talked about networking a lot, and it's not just a matter of networking to get a job. It's networking to gain that knowledge, gain something that you may not have known before. What someone tells you or a conversation you may have, you may be able to use that later in your career. You never know when that's going to take place.
Sure.
You never know who that person's going to be. You never know when that moment's going to take place or how you're going to need it in the future. Network, ask questions, grow. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone.
We talked about in our presentation about giving back, Kevin, and how do you enjoy giving back either to the HR community or to your community at large?
Over the last year, I have shared that I earned my APHR, and I have spoken to a few people, usually on LinkedIn or Twitter, about how they are able to get into HR and what I did to earn that certification. And one thing I've always told people is, if HR is what you want to do, go ahead, work on your certification. It carries a lot more weight, typically, than a degree. And I say that because when an undergraduate program with your bachelor's degree, you take a lot of different classes. Accounting, you take finance, you take math, you take some electives. But with the certification, everything that you study has to do with HR. And those letters after your name, once you receive your certification, means something. They carry a lot of weight to them. Helping people, answering their questions, helping them on their journey as well is how I like to give back.
Awesome. Well, and congratulations on getting the APHR.
Thank you.
I think that's fantastic. It's great that there's an opportunity for that so that you can share what knowledge you have and what you know. And I do agree that it shows a commitment to the industry, to the profession. You showing a commitment this early in your career is fantastic. So kudos to you. So what's your favorite movie?
Airplane.
Nice.
Good choice. Sorry, that one has not come up. Surely that has not come up before.
Surely it has not. Wow, Airplane, nice. Okay, what's your favorite musician or band?
I don't have a favorite musician or band, and I can't sing, but I can appreciate some of the talent that I see online from all over the world. YouTube, Facebook. I appreciate talents that I don't have. We'll keep it that way. I won't sing for you, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How about a favorite TV show?
It depends on my mood. Right now, it's The Walking Dead.
Oh.
I don't say that just because they film in Georgia, but I like that kind of zombie apocalypse type thing.
So as we look for connection, which we always try to do, I'm with you on Airplane. It's a great movie.
Great movie.
I don't watch YouTube singers. I don't know anything about them. I don't do zombies as much as I'm into comic books, and that's what everybody always asks me. They're like, "Oh, you must be into comic. You must love The Walking Dead." Zombies just don't do it for me. Now, of course, everybody says The Walking Dead is not really about the zombies. The Walking Dead are the people that don't have any hope. That's pretty meta something.
It's about the zombies for me. I don't know what.
If you're not watching Airplane, if you're not listening or following those online performers, and you're not watching Walking Dead, what else do you like to do outside of work?
Outside of work and outside of school, because I'm in school full time, when I have time, I like to study foreign languages, specifically Spanish, French, and Mandarin.
Oh, my.
When I have time, which hasn't been a whole lot lately, but there's something about foreign languages and being able to learn about how linguistics work. It's been a pull for me, kind of like employee relations.
Sure.
There's an attraction there. So when I can, I like to study foreign languages.
All right. Well, if anyone here speaks a foreign language, come find Kevin and test him. Him later.
I think that's a first, Kevin.
I think
that's
so.
the first time we've ever heard that.
Yep.
And that might apply very well if you're looking for international opportunities down the road, making yourself that much more desirable for employers, for sure.
Have to be strategic.
There
That's
you
right.
go.
Great
There
call.
you go.
Great call.
Well, we talked a little bit. You told us you were looking at accounting or HR. So now that you've been in the classes, you kind of made that switch to HR. If HR wasn't an option, what do you think you'd be doing professionally?
I would probably be doing something either related to accounting or meteorology.
Oh. So you could get together with Lori Rudiman. She wanted to be a weather girl.
Meteorology. Originally, I'm from Southern California, but I do live in the southeast
Sure.
now. Weather's a little different sometimes, gets a little violent. Again, it has to go with figuring things out.
Sure.
Why is this happening? What causes this to happen? Gets a little exciting down there, but it's another hobby.
Yeah? Wow.
Kevin, I think it's fair to say between studying foreign languages and meteorology, you, sir, you've brought some new things to the
Yes.
podcast that we've never heard before. So
Which is good. Yes.
I have to say, again, when we got ready to put this event together, knowing you were going to be here, we were so excited to be able, obviously we've been talking online for a while, so it was great to meet you before we launched into this today. I know that there are going to be people listening to the show after this comes out that don't know you. How do they find you online? What's the best way for them to reach you out there?
LinkedIn is one, either that or Twitter. LinkedIn and Twitter is probably the two most active ways that you could find me.
We will have that in the show notes for sure. So, Wendy, for those that are listening that don't know you or aren't following you, what's the best way for them to reach you out there?
Best way to find me is on my blog, mydailyjourney.com. Daily is D as in dog, A-I-L-E-Y. And, of course, the fourth Sunday of each month, you will find me on Twitter as part of the HR Social Hour Twitter chat, 7 p.m. Eastern, fourth Sunday of each month, and other times, too. You'll find me on Twitter a lot. How about you, John?
Best way to find me is hrsocialhourpodcast.podbean.com. If you go to the website, click on the left-hand side at the top, you'll see 3 little lines. Open those up. You're going to find all the access to our social accounts there. And while you're there, after you've listened to this show, maybe there's another SHRM19 episode you haven't listened to yet. You can download directly from the website if you're not subscribed to one of the platforms that's out there. But, listen, rate, review, and share. That's all we ask. Anything you can help boost the signal, we always appreciate. Again, Kevin, really appreciate your time. Look forward to spending some more time here with you in Vegas later. And so for the HR Social Hour Half Hour Podcast, I'm John.
And I'm Wendy. And as always, be sure to connect,
Give back, and
network.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
We'll see you soon.